Hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Pokemon trading card game match. Today we have Treynor on your left and Brandon on your right. Treynor is playing a Landorus Bats deck, a very popular deck and honestly a very powerful deck. It's seen all sorts of big wins. It's won numerous states, it won the St. Louis Regionals. In fact, two of the top decks at St. Louis were Landorus Bats. There were just a whole lot of places that Landorus Bats has been playing so well. And Brandon is playing a variation of a Flareon deck. It's Flareon, but it also has Leafeon in it. And as you can see there, it also has Bunnelby. Let's see, Treynor's going to start. He's going to play that Repeat Ball, very powerful card that came out in Primal Clash, get another Zubat into play. Let's talk about that Bunnelby. Bunnelby has an ancient trait that lets it attack twice in the same turn. It has two attacks. One is Burrow. Treynor had to discard an Ultra Ball and a VS Seeker with his Ultra Ball there. That's not good. Burrow discards the top card of your opponent's deck. Now, you could do that twice in the same turn, thanks to Bunnelby's ancient trait. And then its second attack lets you choose, I think, one or two cards from your discard pile and put them back into your deck, which is also really powerful, especially late game. Maybe there's a card you need and you can use that attack. Maybe you can burrow and use the second attack. I don't remember what it's called, unfortunately. I apologize for that. Anyway, we see Treynor get a Landorus, a strong energy, and he played the N, and now it's Brandon's turn, attaching a double colorless energy to that Eevee, Silver Bangle to both Eevees, and a Professor Sycamore. That's an extremely powerful attack, extremely powerful turn there. It looks like he drew one too many cards off of his Sycamore, so what Treynor did was he just shuffled the hand and then put one of the cards randomly back onto Brandon's deck, and then they shuffled it in. It's a quick fix, easy fix, so if they had progressed through the game a little bit, that would have been a little worse of a situation, but I think Brandon actually realized, oh, I got one too many cards off that. So he's going to attach a Floatstone to that Bunnelby, and he's going to play an Ultra Ball, get rid of, it looked like an Empoleon and a VS Seeker. And he does want the Empoleon in the discard pile, believe it or not, because of an extremely weird, for lack of a better word, supporter called Archie's Ace in the Hole. If it's the last card in your hand, oh, and he got the Mr. Mime with that Ultra Ball and retreated into it. If it's the last card in your hand, pick one water Pokemon from your discard pile, put it onto your bench, and then draw 5 cards. Now, that doesn't have to be a basic water Pokemon, so in that case, Empoleon would be the best choice. We're going to see a ton of stuff from Treynor. We see the evolution into Golbat and putting the 2 damage counters onto that Mr. Mime thanks to its Sneaky Bite ability. Whenever you evolve it, then I think from your hand even, you can't like use Evoso to activate the ability. Regardless, when you evolve into Golbat from your hand, then place 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon, and he just decided to target that Mr. Mime, make it a little easier to knock out. In fact, I believe he is knocking it out here with Landorus's Hammerhead. Let's see, we see the Professor's Letter. Unfortunately, Hammerhead won't be able to target down one of the bench Pokemon, just because Mr. Mime technically isn't knocked out until in between turns, so that ability still works. So we do see the Hammerhead for knockout there, and 0 damage to the bench, so Mr. Mime did do his job, bought Brandon a turn, and Brandon's going to promote that Bunnelby with free retreat, and evolve into Flareon. Flareon's, of course, has the, for life of me, I cannot, oh, it's Vengeance? Pretty sure it's Vengeance. If not, I know I'll be corrected, but I'm like 90% sure it's Vengeance. It's going to Ultra Ball here, probably for either another Flareon or a Leafeon. Leafeon's extremely good against Seismitoad because it does 20. For 1 energy, it does 20 times the number of energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. So against Seismitoad, which is weak to grass, even if the Seismitoad just has 2 energy on it for Quaking Punch, then Energy Crush is doing 40 damage times 2, that's 80. If it has a Silver Bangle on it, then it's doing 70 times 2, which is 140. And if, you know, there's more energy on the bench, then, well, all of a sudden Seismitoad's in a really bad position against a Leafeon with only 1 energy. But alas, Brandon did go for the Flareon, and I'm 100% sure now that it's Vengeance. So we're going to see Brandon counting up all the Pokemon in his discard pile. Yet another reason to have Empoleon in there to add more damage for Vengeance. And we see him play a Teammates, another fun card that was released in Primal Clash, and is a beautiful full art version too. My personal favorite full art supporter from Primal Clash. If one of your opponent was knocked out by an attack last turn, during your opponent's turn, then search your deck for 2 cards, put them in your hand. You don't have to show those cards to your opponent. They can be any 2 cards. The prerequisite is that your opponent needs to knock out your Pokemon. He can't just play a laser and get knocked out by the poison in between turns. So it kind of makes things a little difficult, but when you're able to use it, it's an extremely powerful supporter. And we do see the Vengeance for, it looks like 120. And this is only 2 or 3 turns into the game, which is really, really good. So good job to Brandon for getting that huge Vengeance out. And we see Treynor's beginning to power up that Lucario. We see the VS Seeker for the N, and he's going to play that. He's only going to get 5 cards. Brandon will get 6. It'll be interesting to see what he gets off of this. If he gets maybe a Golbat, then he can do some damage. If he gets a Golbat and a Muscle Band, then he'd be able to do not quite enough. Flareon has 100 HP, which makes it one of those tricky ones to knock out. Usually when we see Pokemon dealing damage, they, now that I think about it, they usually hit in like odd numbers. So like, especially Landorus, ideally when it's fully powered up it can deal something like 90 damage, but that's still 10 short from knocking out Flareon. So he's going to have to just settle with 50, and then 30 to the benched Flareon. And we see, Brandon evolve into Vaporeon. And that is a Vaporeon from Dark Explorers. However, it was reprinted as a promo. And that promo is technically still in format. And what Vaporeon does is it has Muddy Water. It does 20 and then 20 to your opponent, to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So Landorus is weak to water. It's doing 40. If you can get a Silver Bangle on it, then it's doing, well, it's doing 100. That's not bad for 1 energy, and then on top of that, 20 to one of the bench Pokemon. But right now, all that Brandon really cares about is knocking out the Landorus with this Flareon. It's here, it already has the damage on it, may as well just stay up there, keep attacking. So I believe he's counting up the number of Pokemon for Vengeance right now. And the Golbat on the bench, oh, there we go, on Treynor's side was kind of gravitating away from its proper place. I think it was trying to go back to the wild to scare more Trainers, de-evolve into Zubat, become one of those annoying things. Anyway, wait, I think we saw maybe the trump card? No, we couldn't have seen the trump card because that's Vengeance for knockout. No, it's just that the discard pile was out of frame. Never mind. And then, well, Brandon got 2 prizes. Treynor promotes his Golbat. Not a bad choice, of course. It has free retreat. And we see the Professor Juniper. And I saw a whole ton of supporters in his hand. But we do see the Crobat and the Golbat, which gives 50 damage and the knockout. Well, 50 damage counters, 5 damage counters, whatever. So, Treynor got a prize. Brandon promoted his Bunnelby. And it's still Treynor's turn. All he did was just drop a few cards from his hand to get a knockout. This current format, I'm telling you. So we do see 2 muscle bands going down, one onto the Crobat, interestingly enough. Maybe he feels like he'll need to use that at some point. We do see, it's kind of hard to see what that is. It kind of looks like the Fairy Garden, but it can't be. I really couldn't tell you what that is. That's a stadium. I will point out that that's Treynor's stadium, and he knocked out his own stadium. It's not often we see 2 different stadiums in someone's deck, although I guess we're seeing that a little more often these days. Anyway, he just settled for, I guess he went for the Missile Jab, because that's only 30 damage on the Flareon. Nope. Nah, couldn't have been, because Flareon already had 30 on it. Oh, no, you know what? He knocked out the Bunnelby. He probably knocked out the Bunnelby with Corkscrew Punch, which, no, Somersault Kick. One of those, I think Somersault Kick, knocks out the opponent and lets you draw cards until you have 6 in your hand. So he knocked out the Bunnelby. Now Brandon promoted the Flareon. I get what's going on. Okay. So, I'm not sure what they're discussing right now. They are just talking about something. I'm pretty sure Treynor's looking into that Vaporeon. I think maybe he thought that it was out of format. I'm not exactly sure what went on there, but we will see the Battle Compressor getting rid of a Ditto, an N, and a Professor Sycamore, so the game is continuing as normal. So, now Vengeance is doing a lot more, and we're going to see the Computer Search, and Brandon is going to discard an N and a Sycamore. He's getting rid of a lot of supporters, but I guess he doesn't really need them right now. Just deal as much damage as possible. So we're going to see Computer Surge. Impossible to know what Brandon got. Oh, he got the Leafeon. And now Energy Crush can probably start happening. The Leafeon does not have a Silver Bangle on it, which will ruin the math a tiny bit, but oh well. We're just going to see a Vengeance, I suppose. Counting up all these Pokemon. 20 plus 10 for every Pokemon, plus another 30 for the Silver Bangle. And Brandon is counting them all up. And, well, he hasn't announced the attack yet. He's just counting it up to see how much it would do if he did. You can look through your discard pile however many times you want within your turn. I mean, there is a time limit. You can't just sit there for 15 minutes or anything. I think you have to, like, perform an action within 1 minute or you get a warning, something like that. But, you know, he's just counting everything up. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, plus 20 is 150, plus the Silver Bangle is 180, enough to knock out that Lucario in one shot. Vengeance for 180. Now we're going to see the Karina from Treynor. He already placed that down. Looks like he was... It looks like he placed it down and then thought, wait, maybe that's not what I want to do. In fact, yeah, he's just going to take it back. So, well, Brandon's down to just 2 prizes. Treynor still has 3, and he's only taking 1 prize per turn because, well, Brandon doesn't seem to run any EXs. The few that I've seen have just been discarded with Battle Compressor or Ultra Ball or some other way. He's been very, very smart at not benching them or anything like that. And of course the video is going a little faster than it should because I've sped it up to meet my 15-minute time limit, but it's easy enough to follow what's going on. We're going to see the AZ, in fact. We're going to see bench the Zubat, evolve into Golbat, 20, and then we see the attack from Crobat, which knocks out the Flareon. And now it's a tied game. And that Vaporeon can muddy water here for 20, and then 20 to one of the benched Zubat, perhaps. We're going to see the Lysander for the Zubat. If he has a Muscle Band here, no, he doesn't, though, so he's just going to have to settle for doing that. Well, I mean, Zubat has free retreat. Its ability provides it free retreat as long as it doesn't have any energy on it. So Treynor can always just retreat the Zubat. And, oh, I forgot to mention this. Treynor did win the Colorado and the Kansas states this year. I believe Kansas. I'm pretty sure he won Kansas. I know for a fact that he won Colorado. So he won 2 states this year. So he's a really, really good player. Brandon is up and coming. I don't think he's been playing too long. I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong, but he's just been starting recently, and look at him. He's already doing really, really good. He built a really powerful deck. We're going to see the Scoop Up Cyclone, the evolution into Golbat, the evolution into Crobat, Muscle Band. Oh, Landorus came down, got fully powered up, and 30 to the Leafeon on the bench and knockout on the Vaporeon. It all comes down to what Brandon can get. He needs to take 2 prizes here, and really, the Vaporeon was probably his best bet. Unfortunately, Treynor's just down to 1 prize. I think Brandon's lost. We're coming to the end of the video, so yeah, he's lost. He concedes. And that was an incredibly good game. I hope you all enjoyed it, and, well, I'll be doing more videos in the future. Thanks everyone for watching, and stay tuned for more.